Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Olusegun Odufua. Alima, you definitely got the pronunciation correct. So props to you on that. Um, yeah, I'm the creative leader of Open Dashboard. Open Dashboard is a SaaS platform that really allows you to build, sort of like that backend space where you can manage your business. And really, the problem we are trying to solve is really every business really they need a space where they can manage, their finances, their customers, their sales, whatever. Let me take a typical business, like a typical say you're running like a jewelry business, you're selling jewelries, you're selling bags, you're selling all those kind of stuffs. And your customers are either reaching out to you via DMs on Instagram or like your TikTok DM or like your WhatsApp DM, or whatever. And like you make the closing, through that they send you the money to your bank account. If you're in Nigeria, if you're in, Canada, they send it to your Interact. If you're in US, maybe like PayPal, Venmo, whatever. So, you do all of the transactions there and everything is nice. You get your money, you deliver the product and all. So by the end of the month, now the question is, how much have you made for the past 30 days? How much have you made, at the end of the month? Now, for you to actually get that answer, you now have to start going back through all of the charts and start figuring out, oh, for this person, oh, this was 100K. For this person, it was 20K. For this person, it was 50K. It will probably take you like 2, 3 days to actually go through everything and actually come up with that final figure of how much you actually made at the end of the month. Okay, that's fine. Let's take it a step further. How many customers did I get this new month? How many of these customers were recurring? How many of them, are actually new customers? You now have to do the same thing again to actually get that answer. Let's even take this a step further. I'm doing marketing already on I'm running Facebook ads, I'm running Google ads, I'm running Instagram ads, you name it. So now the question is, are these ads actually converting? So now we sort of have to do like a funneling whereby okay, so I ran an ads of like $100, $200. I got what 1,000 impressions, on my ads. Then from these 1,000 impressions, about 500 of them, reached out to me. Then out of these 500, I only closed 50. So like, is Facebook ads actually working for me? Is the Google ads working for me? Is the Instagram ads working for me? How can you actually answer this question? You can't exactly answer this question without doing a whole bunch of reconciliation work, which will actually take time. And all of this reconciliation work is really what helps you to make a decision on, what, should I still make this? Should I still be running this ads? Should I optimize my business this way? Or like, is this thing not working at all? Like, I need to like kill it off. Or maybe I'm getting so much conversion from Google ads, then I need to double down on it. Stuff like that. You can't, make those kind of decisions if you don't have proper like setup, proper like structure to like your business. You don't manage your customers, you don't manage your sales, your finances in a structured manner. You can't even answer like, did I actually make a profit? Because by the time you bring in like the money that you're sending out in terms of like your cost price, then your marketing price, your price for delivery, are you actually making a profit? You can't exactly answer that. And because you don't have all of these data in a structured way. So really, what Open Dashboard, does is we sort of take like an approach where we are giving you building blocks to actually build that backend for yourself. If your business, you are more interested in like, understanding, like your sales information, then it's like you can simply build like a sales dashboard on Open Dashboard and you can track all of your sales there. If you are more interested in seeing your finances, you can build a finance dashboard and just see all of your finances there. If you're interested in seeing something else, you can actually build it. So really what Open Dashboard does is really like helps you to build like that space where you can actually manage your business with ease and yeah, conveniently and real time as well. So yeah, that's really what Open Dashboard does. And we have some success stories. Godfrey, like, is actually one of our success story. Like he used Open Dashboard for like the MVP for Woodchup, which was really like it was a big honor, for us in Open Dashboard. And then also like we internally in Open Dashboard, we use Open Dashboard, for like, meeting notes, attendees, like we have, things like our ads, our campaigns, our marketing campaign, we're tracking it with Open Dashboard, we're tracking our customers with Open Dashboard. We have all of our numbers and we're seeing it and we see, where we need to like, get better and what we need to like double down on. So yeah, that's really Open Dashboard in a nutshell. And yeah, again, I would say Open Dashboard is like my fourth startup right now. From back in the days, I started with Eventbrite. Some people in Nigeria may know Eventbrite. Then I did GetDP as well. GetDP is pretty popular in Nigeria as well. Like, it's where people are generating, attendee badges. I'm attending this event. You put your picture and you put your name and you just generate it. I founded GetDP as well. It's the second one, by the way. Doco. Yeah, I founded GetDP as well, and GetDP has over like I think about 4 million images have been generated from GetDP, which is really huge. Then I also did in branded and currently now yeah currently building Open Dashboard. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Yeah, I'm looking forward to like sharing the journey with you guys and yeah, just having an open conversation and learning from other panelists as well as other people as well in this stage. So yeah, thank you guys so much and Godfrey, back to you.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. It's beautiful to know that some of these platforms you mentioned I have interacted with without even knowing who the founder is. I recently had an event last weekend and I used Eventbrite for, the registration and stuff. And it's great to, see that the founder is here. And I'm so glad that you're talking about platforms that, entrepreneurs can use and, in various, just as you said, Godfrey is, a success story from open dashboard and all of that. So yeah, I believe that as we go further, and considering the fact that you have about 4 startups, you have a lot of things to share with us tonight, and we anticipate hearing all of those things that you have to say tonight. So I'll be passing the mic to Tom. All right, Tom. We it's great to have you here
Great to have.
tonight. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
great to have you. It's a pleasure being here. So for those who don't know me, my name is Tom. So I am towards like I would say the younger side of entrepreneurship. But I think what I'm currently working on is an idea called Orbit View. So through my own experience and also talking to a lot of my peers, I've seen the challenges that the rising group of consumers have faced when building new skills, networks, and also real world experience, and they tend to get overwhelmed and lost. So I'm creating Orbit View to kind of give them a journey that's more seamless, more accessible, more impactful. And especially for generational Z, which is kind of our initial focus and also our biggest customer segment we have right now. And we're just trying to design a place where they can streamline the process of professional growth and information. And one day, we hope to become the platform for interaction, information, and growth.
thank you so much, Tom, for introducing yourself to us and sharing, your journey with us. So, as we get to interact further tonight, we're going to learn more about what you do and, sharing your journey. We're going to, hear more about your journey and how, being a founder, has, influenced your life and some learnings that you've taken from this journey. Thank you so much once again for being here. So, so the last speaker, initially I was going to call her first, probably because we are both females, but let's just say I saved, I saved her for the last. And tonight, I'm somebody who is very, very particular about inclusion. Whenever I find myself on platforms, I love to see females out there doing stuff, and so it's great to have Mika in our midst tonight. So Mika, over to you. Introduce yourself to us. Tell us what you do, and let's learn a thing or two from you tonight. Welcome.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Halima. Hi, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Godfrey, for putting this together. So I work with Construct, and Construct is a digital marketplace for building materials. So we want to revolutionize the built industry by providing building materials very seamlessly. So essentially, we want to streamline procurement for the built industry in Africa and the world at large. And so you find that in building and construction projects, right, um, a very simple part of a whole project, an entire project, which is purchasing of materials, type of materials that's used, and then the time that it takes to get these things to sites for use, can cause a lot of trouble. And by causing trouble, I mean you need to speak to at least 10, 20, 50, whatever the number of vendors are, to get a certain material to your site to use. You have to negotiate prices, you have to haggle prices, you have to ensure that they get to your site for use. So Construct has seen this problem, and we have stepped in to provide this platform to have people just order on the website for whatever material they need to build from start to finish, without having to make thousands of calls, without having to spend time on the phone negotiating. Because I mean, time is money. So if you can conserve your time and do what you need to do as a builder, as a developer, or a supervisor, an architect, whatever role you play in the construction industry. So if you can spend that time doing what you should do and leave the procurement to us, then you're good. So Construct has seen that this is a problem in the built industry, and we have stepped in to bring sourcing for materials from our platform, such that it helps your project, helps you meet your project's goals.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight. So proceed tonight, we'll get to learn more about how being a valuable employee of Construct has affected how it has shaped your journey as a person, and you get to share more about what you do with us. Thank you, Mika. So without further ado, I'll delve straight to the questions tonight. And the first question I'll be throwing that question to Mika. What are the key steps you think that individuals and entrepreneurs can take when transforming from an idea into a viable business?
Oh, interesting. All right. So for an entrepreneur, you have an idea, and first things first, very fundamental to being an entrepreneur, or to having your idea, or to transforming your idea into a viable business, you have to know your business. You have to know your business more than anybody else, right? It's an idea. How do you communicate the idea? Right. So knowing your business, knowing the industry, you have to eat, sleep, walk, talk your business, such that there's nobody that knows your business more than you do. So in communicating your idea and turning it to a productive business, right, you have to know it. You have to know the industry. You have to interact with experts as well in that industry to know, because it's one thing to have an idea, and it's another thing to get into the real life, the real sense of applying that idea and seeing what that translates to. So knowing your idea is very important. And secondly, first you have an idea, you think of what to do next. You've researched, you've studied, you've interacted, you've networked in your industry, you have friends in the industry as well that can help you push this idea forward. Just build a business plan, right? Develop a business plan. You have to structure the idea. Yes, you have an idea. Yes, it's brilliant, because as entrepreneurs, as founders, we like to think that our ideas are the best. They are they are novel and all of that. Until you put it on pen and paper, it is not an idea. So put your idea on pen and paper, develop a business plan, right? So structure your idea, put what you need to put together. Have friends. Many times, not many people have the know-how in structuring a business idea as entrepreneurs. And again, as entrepreneurs, you must also learn to leverage. There are some things that are your strength, there are some that are not your strength. So leverage. If you need consult, if you need help with developing a business plan, your idea, I mean, you have to reach out for help. So structure your business plan, put that together, and yes, from there you can now fly. You can fly with registering your business. You can fly with documenting, putting all the legal instruments you need to put together around your idea, such that you protect it. Because yes, as you have an idea, as you're talking about it, you're networking, believe me, it is going out there. So you need to register, you need to sort of protect it legally with the right legal instruments that's necessary. So yes, research, I'd say, put it in pen and paper, do the necessary legal registration and all that it is required, as per the rules or the laws governing your country, your state, or your city. And then you go from there on to developing your products, getting feedback, getting into the market basically. But for starters, I think that these are the things you need to do.
Wow, thank you so much, Mika. I'll just say that, like, the few things I took from that is, it's one thing to have an idea. Anybody can have ideas. For some of us, when our imaginations can be so wild, you think about an idea and and you feel like, oh, there is no other person in the whole world that has the same idea. You feel like, oh, once I begin this, once I begin this, once I begin to execute, everything will just, go smoothly and all of that. But then it's a different ballgame entirely when it comes to execution, when it comes to, real life application. And you shared quite a number of things that can be helpful on this journey. Thank you so much for that. So the next person I would be passing the mic to is Tom. Tom, can you also tell us the key steps that you believe as an entrepreneur, from your own journey and experience? What are the key steps that you think that individuals and entrepreneurs can take when transforming their ideas into profitable and viable businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I just have one piece of advice for anyone listening to. Is just start, begin. Like, I'm a firm believer in the momentum theory. You begin pushing a heavy rock, which is the idea that you have. And, in the beginning, it could be really hard. For me, it was really hard. But according to the laws of the universe and according to physics, once an object starts moving, it's very hard to stop it, especially if if it has a lot of mass and it has a lot of potential. You sometimes, like, you feel like you want things to slow down, but it can't slow down because you've gained so much momentum from that. So if you guys know the movie The Martian, which was written by Andy Weir, and their movie featured Matt Damon, and he just said he said one quote that kind of stuck with me always. He said, "Just begin. You start solving one problem, you start solving another one, and as you start this process, your idea becomes clear. Your idea, changes. And I think one of the most profound things I've seen is your idea that you initially thought about is a lot different from the idea that you have today. And that was certainly the case for Orbit View, where we kind of began as an aspiring media company where we just publish content on many topics, and then once I began, I was like, oh, maybe this idea wasn't the best because I experimented and I failed, and then we did some analysis and we chose to pivot. So that's just really kind of the thing, is just begin. Like, what Mika has said is write it on pen and paper. Once you see, the idea in a tangible way, you start to really question, is this a really good idea? What kind of gaps do I need to fill in? And just kind of from that point on, you can figure out a lot more stuff, versus when you're just thinking of this idea and it's all in your mind. When you put it on pen and paper, or when you begin, things just become a lot clearer.
Thank you so much, Tom. So my key takeaways from this is just start. When you look at some of the companies, some of the, innovations that you feel like, oh, these are groundbreaking innovations. These are, these are startups that you really admire. These are people that, encourage you on your own on your own entrepreneurial journey, I want to imagine, what if those people did not start? So I've used Get DP before. What if Shogun did not start that? What if he did not do Eventbrite? Like the I would have been running helter skelter to see how to get people to sign up for the last event I had and all of that. So it's the most important thing is just to start, because the best idea, the most groundbreaking idea can be in your book and nobody knows anything about it. As once you start, you begin to build momentum and everything begins to evolve when you start. Thank you so much for sharing those gems
Yeah.
with us.
Is it okay if I say one more thing on that? I just think a lot of founders nowadays are thinking like, I need to begin and I have to build this thing super huge. Like sometimes when you just begin, you start to kind of gain this feeling where you don't burn out. Like a lot of burnout from founders I talk to, they just think, oh, once I begin, I have to build this huge like $1 billion holy crap idea. No, like you just begin, you start doing some of the small components of it, and once you begin, you're like, oh, I'm on number one, I'm capable of doing this, and number two, this was actually more fun than I imagined. So like just begin. I don't even have a to-do list as a founder. I just have a to start list, and once you start all these things, you don't know where it's going to take you, and sometimes you even underestimate the impact and the profound effect that it has on you. So just really just begin. Don't overthink everything. Just begin.
Thank you so much, Tom. Just begin. Just begin. I've heard and spoken about to-do list a whole lot, but I'm gonna add to start list to my list. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. So to the next question, I'll be going to our four-time founder, Olusegun Odufuwa. So, how can early stage entrepreneurs validate their ideas before investing significant resources into building them in the market validation phase? So, how do okay, I have this idea that I feel like, no, once I launch out, this idea is going to save the world, it's going to be the biggest thing of the century. How do I validate this idea before I begin to take steps, before I, begin to talk to investors, before I begin to, put in resources and valuable time into it? Shegun.
Yes, I really think, Alima, I think we're really in sync because I actually had some thoughts on the previous question, and this was exactly my thoughts. Like, basically, it was about like finding out the shortest path to validate the idea before you even like invest resource. And it's interesting, basically, you just asked me that question. Um, so I would say, yeah, how do you validate your idea really? It depends really on what the nature of the idea is. But what I would always say is get it to as many people as possible. Like first of all, like once you just have an idea, yeah, like okay, ask yourself like this idea that I have, what problem is it solving? So like one of my advisors, he told me something recently. Whatever thing you're starting, like it's either gonna save money for people, it's gonna make money for people, or it's gonna save time. So like you need to figure out which one of those does your idea fall into. Now, once you figure that out, so now who are the people that would actually benefit from this idea? Once you figure that out, go talk to them like straight up before even like sitting down to like write anything. Like if it's a startup, like before starting like write any code, before even like doing any designs, before even like doing any business plan, just go and talk to them and like just hear what they think. They would either tell you, okay, this idea is very, very brilliant. If you're able to pull it up, then we'll definitely buy. Or they will tell you that, oh, okay, I mean, we're already doing this, we're already doing this, we're already doing this, we're already doing this. And it's like, okay, maybe the idea itself is not the best idea, or like maybe I'm not communicating it in the right way, you know. So like it sort of opens up a question, like as Tom mentioned, like it's probably not gonna work. Like it's not working, and like you figure out like you need to pivot, or like you know what, maybe this person is not understanding it. Then maybe like I need to find a better way to communicate it in a different way. That way they can actually understand and they can relate with it. let's just skip forward and say like, you're able to figure out your communication and like they can resonate with the idea. I mean, that is all well and good. And everybody is saying like, what, this is really nice. I think, if you can get it done, we'll definitely buy from you. That's all well and good. However, I think there's still a next step. Just before you even start like doing any serious work on it. The next one is you want to prove their commitment. So me and Godfrey, like, we went to this Elevate conference that happened just at the start of October. And so we had the opportunity of interacting with a lady, and what she was building was a an hardware for helping ladies plait hair, which is like pretty much all, at least I know, like African ladies, like they all make their hair, and like this thing takes so much time. Like if you're in Canada, this thing costs so much. So it's like something like that would be really really amazing, for the markets. And she had started building it, and like things are going well. However, like she's actually pitching, she's in a pitching competition, and she's actually looking for funds. So one of the things I brought to her was that, what, I think, fine, you've spoken to people and like you definitely have seen like their responses that yes, this idea actually works, and even the prototype, they are seeing it. But like when it comes to investors, like speaking to people is not enough. Like it's not enough for you to actually speak to people. You have to have something that is backing it. You have to have like either a number, like number that is backing it. So like it's either you have a wait list of like, actual people that have signed up to say, what, as soon as your idea launches, I'm ready to buy. So you have to either have that. So I even told her, what, you can actually take this a step further. You know what, do a pre-sign up, do a pre-sale. Actually, since you're pricing your device at, between like 400 to 800 dollars, how about you do a pre-sale? Create a landing page and ask people that if you are interested, actually come and pre-sale, pay $20, as a commitment that, what, I'm interested in this product. Then see how many people actually pay that $20. So it's like once you actually do that, that would actually force you to actually like build this landing page. Then go out there, go into the market and get people to actually see this, and you would actually see how many of them actually pre-sale. And the beauty of it is that like if you even get like 10,000, like 1,000 pre-sale, that's like just 20,000 like revenue without even a product. And since it's an hardware business, it actually takes a lot. It's so much investment in terms of resources, in terms of knowledge, in terms of actual like money that you actually need to build this, to build this business. And a business like this, you most likely don't have the money to do that. You cannot bootstrap. So like you need an external investor. So like if you go to investors and you tell them that what, we did a pre-sale of $20 and about 1,000 people actually like bought this thing. There's actually no product, and the product is not going to come out in like what, 2 3 years, but like we already have 20,000 people showing interest. A lot of them would basically fund your business because this is actually validated already. So back to really the question, like you kind of have to figure out, because there's no one answer that really fits in all businesses because all businesses are really really different. But like the general thing is, go to your customers, speak to them and hear what they say. And if you can get them to actually pay, you know pay in terms of like commitment before you even like put in one drop of effort into it, then honestly, that is perfect. Like that just proves that the idea itself is validated. Then only then should you start building. So thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much. I think one of the things I took from everything you said is strategic communication. It's once you have ideas in your head, it's not okay to feel like this idea is great and you just want to launch out without even having conversations about this wonderful idea that you feel that you have as an entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Kevin, for sharing this wonderful tips with us. I was also asking,
Halima, can I make a contribution? Sorry.
definitely.
Yeah, so just to add to what Mika said, I just want to touch on the fact that Mika mentioned something I already said, and Tom actually elaborated on that. When we started Owujup, right, when the idea came, we started with research. We went into research, and then we found out a lot of things around the Canadian culture that relates to our idea, right? But we didn't just stop there. the next thing we started doing was to start engaging people. And one of the people I engaged when we started was Adetona. He's on this call. Yeah, I engaged him and I discussed with him, and this is what we want to do, this is what we want to do. And Adetona actually linked me up to a community here in Toronto where we were able to join and, refine our idea. It was an incubation program for 6 weeks. We joined the community. Through that community, we were able to, move our idea from just idea to a business idea, right? We did validation, we did surveys. We didn't just stop there. We kept talking to people. And as I speak to you, you never stop talking to people. You keep talking to people, talking to people. Like I was going through my first slide, my first pitch deck, and I was seeing something, and I could see the journey, how that we've refined and refined our pitch deck to what we have today. So we didn't just stop there, just like Shegun said, right? We had to start speaking with people, engaging people, know what the pain points were, and then we launched. Like we launched an MVP, and we launched an MVP without a website. We launched an MVP without a product. We were leveraging on existing product, which that was the first contact we had with Open Dashboard, right? So we started by speaking. We started by speaking, researching, conducting, what do you call it, primary research, surveys and all of that. So you definitely have to begin from somewhere. Thank you so much. Over to you, Alima.
Thank you so much for the addition, Wesley. I believe
Okay.
that as entrepreneurs here, we are teaching one or two things from all of this conversation. So for the next question, I'll be going to some subjects. When is it ideal for a startup to start its way forward? And at what point do you think that it's appropriate for entrepreneurs to start seeking external funding?
Halima, your mic is quite low. I think we prefer the other one. Can you join using the other device? I think the other device is louder.
Can you hear me?
It's low. It's low. Your audio is low.
Oh, okay.
Give us a second. Okay, while we wait for Halima to come up, yeah, I'll just proceed with some of the questions. Halima, are you here?
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Okay, this is better. Maybe you can turn off the other one. Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Apologies.
Yeah,
I had,
better. This is better. Yeah.
I had a technical glitch here. Apologies for that.
Okay. It's fine.
Okay, so for the next question, I would be passing the mic over to Tom. When do you think it's ideal for a startup to bootstrap its way forward? And at what point do you think it's appropriate to start seeking external funding for your business? Tom, over to you.
Yeah. So I think bootstrapping is like ideal when you're like in the initial stages, like validating or developing the MVP. I think seeking like external funding is it's only kind of viable when you have like strong validation and traction. So I think a very key important thing I want all founders to keep in mind is I've spoken to dozens of investors and they say one fundamental thing is funding does not help you experiment. No one in this world will pay you money to experiment. All that experimentation is something you have to do yourself. But they only pay you funding to help you scale. And I think the most challenging and most kind of the most toughest things you have to do as an early stage entrepreneur is that you have to find really creative ways to like experiment without like, without spending a lot of money. So once you get that experiment, once you build something that people like and there's strong validation for it, and there's strong, customers who are willing to pay for that, then, then you can start seeking funding. And then, but again, bootstrapping should be ideal when you're like in the initial stages, in my opinion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tom, for that. I saw Shegun, nodding while you were speaking. So I know that he agrees with what you're saying. And so, Shegun, I would like to ask that share your thoughts about it as well. So when is it ideal for a startup to bootstrap its way forward? And at what point is it appropriate to start seeking external funding? Let's hear your view.
Yeah. So, as Thomas has mentioned, really in the beginning, I don't even think you have a choice of bootstrapping and funding because, like, as Thomas mentioned, nobody's gonna fund your idea. So, like, you kind of have to bootstrap, whether or not you like it, or not. So, yeah, definitely bootstrap. Um, that said, though, I was actually speaking with another advisor yesterday. It's funny. He mentioned this thing to me, yeah. So like when it comes to funding, investors are gonna fund either of two things. They're gonna fund either strong traction or strong hype. So like in the early stage, you kind of have to figure out how to build either one of them. You either have to like hype your product so like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Or like you have to have like, so much traction that you know what, like they'll be begging you to like, put their money into it. So like you really have to figure out those two. Either one of those. So like if you have both, then honestly, like that's perfect. Like literally you have your peak of investors. So yeah, like you kind of have to like, build, either one of them. That said though, like it's still always good to have conversations with, investors early on. Like they might not necessarily fund it now, just at the early, since you're at the early stage, but like, once you start that conversation, then like, that conversation could be useful to you down the line. As you begin to like, grow your business and once you're ready to scale.
Okay, thank you so much for those wonderful contributions. I believe that, entrepreneurs here are taking a thing or two from that. So for the next question, I would ask Mika, then, our other founders would also, share their views about them. So Mika, what are some effective strategies for building and maintaining strong relationships with potential investors? I believe that with your work at Construct, have external relations with, investors and, clients and all of that. So what are some effective strategies you would say are important for building and maintaining strong relationships with these potential investors and clients?
Yeah, thank you, Halima. I mean, so far so good. I'm taking a lot, and I really like the foundation that both Shegun and Tom laid about, and I think Godfrey added to that too, about starting, about having an MVP, about pre-sales, and all of that. So all those things actually add to how you communicate value, because to have people invest in you, to have to attract potential investors, you have to show value. And then is one thing to show value, is another thing to really communicate this value. Shegun said something about, it's either you're selling your hype or you are selling traction, right? So you have to sell something and you have to sell it well, right? So get your experience, get people on board. I mean, you do not have the money yet, you're still bootstrapping. You're probably sourcing from family and friends, but you believe in this idea. You believe in what you're pushing, right? Communicate it. Communicate the value you're adding to the world with the solution that you're bringing, right? Communicate it very well. Communicate it very, how do I put it? Convincingly, right? And again, you have to be authentic about how you communicate this thing, because it's one thing to have all these ideas, it's one thing to do all the groundwork that is necessary, and then it's another thing to not be attached to it, or to be attached to it for selfish reasons, if I should say that, right? So it's another thing to just be solution oriented, right? Having a sociological approach to what your problem, your solution is about, right? So yes, be authentic about your ideas, really, really believe in it, and then yes, push this out to the investors. And again, how you communicate this thing, show value, right? And so one of the things we do on Construct is we onboard people on our platform. So we have, I mean, adoption is not adopting such a novel solution to the construction industry has not been easy, right? Because we are like how do I put it? We are founders. Like we are finding the digital aspect to construction, right? We are opening that channel for digitalizing purchase of building materials, and so it is an industry that has been existing years and years, hundreds, thousands of years before us. And so how do you push that idea? How do you have people on board the platform? How do we show to investors that indeed Nigerians or Africans are using the platform, right? There's still a lot of work that we are putting. There's still a lot of value communication that we are doing. And yes, onboarding people on the platform, showing that progress that we are making each month, right? And so another thing is managing the stakeholders. When you have your idea, when you're speaking to investors and all of that, you have to consistently show progress. If you've onboarded 50,000 people, 100,000 people, you have to show them that you're making progress with your solution, and that is how you build trust. That's how you have more people key into your idea. So yes, show progress, really believe in your solution, really be authentic, right? Have the selfless ambition towards the problems that you want to solve. And so that's basically, that's one thing I know that will be helpful in attracting more investors.
Thank you so much, Mika. Authenticity is very key and cannot be overemphasized. Thank you for sharing that with us. So bringing you home, I'm going to ask you, Olusegun, how in your journey as an entrepreneur, what are some effective strategies that you have used in building and maintaining strong relationship with your investors?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So I would say for me, it's a continuous, it's something I'm still working at. I definitely don't think I'm there yet. But I definitely can give my 2 cents about it. So I think the first time an investor gave me money is because they saw what Get Tippy was doing and they liked it, and it was like, you know what, I want to be part of this. And they just gave me the money and I accepted it. I wasn't really looking for them. So like that was the first time like I received money from investors. But the other thing and I'm also learning is I think fine we think of these people as investors, but one thing we should also keep in mind is these are also human beings. These are also human beings. A lot of the time, like, an investor will make a logical decision, in quotes, logical decision, but like that same investor would make an illogical decision with someone else, and give this person money. So like, as much as, I would say everything has to make sense and you have to know how to sell, but like, I also think you can, underestimate the value of building the relationship and just having a relationship beyond just like give me money. um Like you have to like find a way to like get these guys, on your side, get these guys to actually be cheering for you, get these guys to actually be friends with you. Like these are literal like you never know, like your investor could be like the very next person. You just don't know that, oh, this person is, working in one venture firm, or like this person is, associated with one VC, or like one angel like that. So like, I tend to think of investors as just people that are, as with everybody else, they're trying to make money. They've made so much money, but like, they want to make so much. So it's like I have a couple dollars I want to throw into some businesses that I'm hoping, with 100x. So like, first of all, like try to always build a relationship with an investor, and the other thing is also like from the early on, like I said, being able to sell. Like you just have to be able to like sell, and like you just have to put yourself in that position where I always say this thing, like you can't get to a place and like you have to you be shaky. It's like I think like you have to be like super convincing, like you have to, but like generally, like whenever they say believe in your hype, it's not a good thing. But like when you're dealing with investors, you have to believe your hype. Like you have to like you have to like drink your own Kool-Aid and make sure like they're also drinking it as well. You have to figure out a way to get them to drink it and make sure that they believe you. Then yeah, build a relationship, believe your hype, and make sure you sell it. Um, and yeah, like honestly, like network with as many investors as possible. Not all of them would really. Actually, a huge number of them would not fund your idea. Whatever that number is, I'm not sure. But like you can also think about like, also like trying to sell to customers. Like, there's the whole reason why there's a funnel where like, there's this thing where people track, conversion. Like, if you talk to like 100 businesses, only one of them convert. That means you only have like a 1% conversion. You also have to like think of investors like that. Like if you talk to 100 investors, only one of them is going to fund it. So like as much as like there's a relationship and there's all this other aspect, there's also the numbers part of it, where it's a numbers game. Talk to as many people as possible. Eventually, like one of them, you might find one. If every other thing goes right, you will find one, that's willing to invest in you. And as soon as that one person invests in you, what a lot of the time what happens is that the other ones they now follow. So there's sort of like that formal element, like, oh, you know what, this thing is gonna be very, very big. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out on the next big thing, and the rest of them will now join in as well. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
You have answered the question very excellently. And I kind of love the way that, your responses are interconnected and there's just this flow. Mika said, be authentic and, own your authenticity, be confident about your idea and, just hype what you do, like blow your trumpet. If you don't blow it, I mean, I'm not going to come and blow it for you. Godfrey is not going to come and blow it for you and all of that. So yeah, own your authenticity, be confident about what you say you want to do, and then sell it very well. So Tom, to answer the same question, what are the strategies you have used to build and maintain relationships with your investors and your clients? What are the strategies you have used? Share with us tonight.
Yeah, I think don't, for any founder who's talking to an investor is be humble. Don't say more than you've achieved. Don't brag or sugarcoat because investors, at the end of the day, they are pessimistic creatures. They invest in 10 startups with the hope of that just one succeeds because with, startups, there's a very high failure rate. So investors, they tend to invest in like all sorts of companies and they have very low expectations. They're focused on attaining tangible goals and they don't like it when, founders like, oh, we can get, 100 million users in a month. No one likes that, garbage nonsense, right? So, but again, be mature. And I think the most important thing is gain something out of any investor interaction or like relationship. So, if they invest, great, you got yourself an investor, but if they don't, your heart will drop, but keep them in your circle and don't like antagonize them, right? There's an email prompt I sent to every investor that pulls out on me. I said, I know you're not moving ahead with us with your firm, But since you've been spending a lot of time studying my business and my market, tell me, if there was one thing that I could change about my business model that might have caused you to stay interested, what would that one thing be? And the more investors you talk to, the more data you can learn, and overall just have that critical analysis ability. So when they give you that feedback, you're like, maybe is this the thing? Is this the right thing for me? Are they telling me something that I can actually implement? But again, as a founder, when you're talking to investors, have low expectations, but be optimistic and don't really expect rejection, right? You still want to have low expectations. You want to go in there and sound confident, sound optimistic. You want to believe in your idea. But when they pull out, don't drop your heart too much. Still have that, optimism, still have that passion still in you, and don't antagonize them, but just be mature, and keep them in your circle. I think when investors see that kind of maturity in you, they'll want to stick around. They want to see founders who want to grow. They want to see founders who want to, learn more, because that's the whole journey of an entrepreneur, is learning and just building towards it.
Before listening to Tom, I said, I love the way that, everything is interconnected. And, we moved from authenticity to, being confident about your idea and, hyping your idea because no one else will. And in the midst of all of that, staying humble because, and then not losing your optimism and passion, because somebody who does not invest in you today, you can get other values from that person. So instead of just, discarding that person, or you were looking at this person for a particular thing, you didn't get that thing, and then you just turn your backs on them, and at the end of the day, you would never know the value, other values, or the connection. That person might not invest in you, but through that person's, keeping that person in your circle can bring you 10, 20, and hundreds of other investors at the end of the day. Thank you so much. It's been amazing, listening to all of your valuable insights so far. So without further ado, we'll go to the next question, and I'll be asking Olusegun this. What are the common challenges that you faced in the course of building all of your startups? What are the common challenges? Just tell us some challenges that you have faced in the course of, building, scaling, and then what did you do that prepared you through this, growth phases? Because probably you did the first one and you learned one or two things from there, which you apply to the second one. And, the journey is never the same. And we never stop learning. Like one of our speakers said earlier, it's an ongoing process. We always learn. So what are the things that, prepared you for this growth stages?
Okay. Thank you. I'm not sure really anything prepared me. If I'm being honest, I would say like I take things as it comes. Um, I try, I plan. Definitely, I always have plans, and I have like strategic milestones, that I want whatever I'm working on to reach at certain points in time. But like in between all of those plannings, I always try to be flexible in the sense that like, okay, if this is not working, it's like you say, oh, you know what, I want to launch this business, and like, within the first 6 months, I should be making, say 10k, monthly. Then it's like, would you say that, oh, if in 6 months you don't make that 10k, would you quit? Then, depending on the nature of the business, it probably, like, there are some, depending on the nature of the business, in some cases it's better to like keep pushing, because you might not make that 10k in that 6 months, but like maybe you could make it in a year. But then again, there are also some businesses like where within the first month, like there are some things that are, you notice there are some things that are fundamentally wrong. Then it's like, don't wait, until the 6 months to decide to actually like change something. Like if something isn't working day one, then definitely just change it from day one. But like don't wait. Um, that said, in my personal journey, what are the things and the challenges I've faced? And I guess like how am I trying to fix them? I'm a tech founder. Like I started as a software engineer. I still do that professionally while also still building open dashboard. So one thing about software engineers, generally, if you give me one moment, please. Um, one thing about software engineers, generally is they are strong when it comes to building. building their products, and maybe not just software engineers, just tech people in general. They are strong when it comes to building their product, but when it comes to building a market and distributing the product, they are weak in that aspect. And what I mean is that like it's one thing to actually build the product, but at the end of the day, if nobody knows about the product, then the product isn't going anywhere. And on the flip side of things, there are products that is like, like the worst product ever in the world. But like, the founders are able to like, get their distribution right. And the products, from it being very, very bad, they find a way to like, they continuously improve the product and it gets better. And like that kind of product dominates. So it's basically the product with the most market reach. That's the one that eventually always wins out. Um, so like yeah, in the very, very beginning, yeah, I knew so much about building, but didn't know so much about growing a business. So like the first one didn't really work out. Then also like I built and launched Get the P. Get the P had some elements of it that I think worked out in its favor, and it got to really, really popular without me doing anything. So you already had the fact that like once you generate an image, you sort of put it on social media, and from the image itself, there's actually a watermark at the bottom of it that is saying created with GetDP. So it already had like that viral loop built into the product where like, as soon as someone generates an image and they share it, like other people know about it, then some people are curious, what, where was this thing created? I saw this platform. I go there, I publish a campaign, I share to people, other people generate. Then like, some like basically the loop continues, and that was how GetDP really, really grew and became really popular. But with events, not events, in branded and also open dashboard. Um, one big challenge, because as sort of like with building and like I guess after a while like building and you're figuring out like what, we're not growing, then the question starts to like the question and my thought process started to change from what, how exactly can I develop the best product, to like what, how can I get people to actually discover this product. So I started like, working more with like marketing people, working more with like sales people, with like business developers, in terms of like getting this, first of all, like just, getting better at communicating the product, and also like figuring out like growth strategies on how to like grow the product as well. And once I started to do that, and obviously some issues with in branded, kind of figured out this wasn't working, and I moved on to open dashboard. Um, that journey of like figuring out growth is sort of a continuous journey. But like as we're also like trying to figure out that journey, now we're sort of like dealing with some issues where like, what, it's a tech product and it's a software product, but like, it's really, really buggy. So it's like, we're trying to grow, we're trying to like get a lot of new users, and we're trying to like sell this product to users, but it's like, you know, as we're trying to like do all of these things, so like users are like, okay, what, this product is interesting, let me give it a try. They run into a bug, and it's like, oh, what, this product is not working. So not only have we spent so much effort in trying to like, get this user to discover us and get this user to actually try it off, but it's like that the first, sign of issue, like this user just dropped off. Um, so what am I trying to get at? There's a lot of elements, in a startup that needs to be right for the team to actually for the startup to actually grow. One of the biggest elements that I'm, again, for me it's also a learning process, is the team. um it's the team, like what is the strength of the team. Like I always say, in the nature of my business, in the nature of a software business, you need a strong product and you need a strong distribution. Like the product has to be doing what the product says it needs to do. And like it's even better if the product is solving your problem and you're using it, that way you're actually seeing the issues that other people are seeing and you can actually fix it. But like you also need a strong team where they can actually sell the product and get the critical mass. If at early elements, like if you don't have a strong team, at the end of the day the team is working so hard, the team is doing so much, at the end of the day there's no results. But like the team is also not strong enough to realize that what, maybe we're not doing some things right, and self-correct. you know. But on the other side of things, it's like if your marketing team is so amazing, your growth team is amazing, these guys, you're signing partnerships, you're getting featured on Forbes, you're getting featured everywhere. At the end of the day, as soon as customers see your product and they just run into a bug, they're not going to use it. So like, the team, is really, 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 really important. I would say that's kind of like one of the biggest challenge I've actually faced is getting the right team, to actually build the product. It's a funny story, yeah. So like for Open Daibo, this is sort of like our second version of the product. So for the first version of the product, I had a team of about like I think like 4 developers or so. And by the 6 months of us building it, not only were we trying to sell it, but like, there were so many bugs. It's like we're not even trying to innovate on the product. We're spending so much time trying to fix bug. So it was like, you know what, this thing is simply not working. We need to kill this thing off. Then we sort of took a different approach and like used a much leaner team to actually build this product. And it took us about 6 months again. So like in total, it took us a year. So I have a second version of the product. But like the second version of the product, because the team was actually stronger, then the second version of the product is actually better. Um, so like I would say the biggest challenge, among a host of other challenges is like just having the right team to help drive the vision. One popular saying is that like you just have to get the best people and just let them do what they do. The product and the business is gonna grow. So like again, team was one big challenge, and like honestly finding a way to like get the right people, and like even these right people, you have to figure out how to sell to them to make it worth their time, because like they are not just going to just spend like a startup, like 99.99 whatever percent of startups already fail. So like, what's the incentive for them to like leave a high paying job, and come and work on your vision for you? So like we kind of have to figure out, that's how to convince them and how to sell to them. We sort of goes back to the question of selling. You have to figure out that. But again, you really just need a strong team to really, really drive the vision. If not, like you will just find that you are working so much in your business when instead you as a founder, you as the CEO, you should be working on your business. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Thank you so much, Shegun. As you were speaking towards the end of, the things you were sharing, the thought that just came to mind is the fact that, of course, we all know that no one can journey alone. Like no one is an island. And among the many challenges any founder would face, having the right people to work with you and journey with you, would be a great source of encouragement to you as a founder. Because among the many decisions you take, among the many, things you do right, I think that's one of the best things you can do for yourselves, because you cannot keep building while you have people that will be pulling down what you're building, working with you and all. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts with us. Now, moving to the technology that, we work with as founders and, in our startups. Over to you. I'll be passing the mic to you, Tom. How do emerging technologies such as blockchain, AI, or Internet of Things impact entrepreneurship journey, particularly when it comes to product development and also funding? How do all these technologies have an impact on what we're building, especially as it relates with you as a founder?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, first of all, I love tech. It accelerates what's possible. But I think for Orbit View, we're trying to look at, how can we leverage AI in a lot more places. I was listening to Peter Thiel's podcast the other day, and he said AI and all these technologies in 2024 is like the internet in 1999. So they are like you see all the possibilities that AI has enabled. It's only the beginning. It's only the beginning of the tech revolution, and it's looking like the internet revolution in 1999. Listen, we're in an age, and it's a proliferation of these services, and Orbit View is here to deploy them in places and see its impact on customers. And in the next few years, we are going to be putting these AI services in places where it's never been done before. And we're going to be shedding light in places where it could be integrated to benefit customers. But, again, tech like IoT, blockchain, it enables everyone, to think about the bigger picture and potentially, include them in your services. But I think a good way that I stay on top of these technologies is I have a weekly blog that I write, and I just write about like what I read, in the news about these things. And these things have the effect to disrupt, many industries. For example, blockchain is currently disrupting traditional finance and what we call TradFi. AI is disrupting, many businesses, cutting costs and cutting the resource needed to do a lot of stuff. And IoT is, it's disrupting industries at large. And if you see what, Meta has done with their AR goggles and stuff, it's crazy. So as a founder, you got to stay on top of these things. And I think the best way you can do is read as much as you can, write it down, share it with your network, because some things that I can pick up, you can, maybe you missed, and then maybe, something you pick up that I missed, we just have to form a network, and just share all these, advances with each other. And I think, when it comes to product development and funding, a lot of VCs I've spoken to, especially in tech hubs, like San Francisco or Silicon Valley, they don't invest in startups that don't use these technologies. So a lot of these tech savvy VCs and investors, they're like, you have to use these things. And you have to use all these disruptive technologies. Otherwise, we're not going to be investing in you, because we see the potential in these things. And if you're not a person or you're not a firm that's actually going to be, pushing the bounds of these, we don't see the potential in you, because there's a few things that will believe in, because number one, you're going to be disrupted by these technologies if you don't leverage them. Or you're going to be replaced by these things if you're not aware of what they do. So really stay on top of these three. It's, founders and, not really like funders and like, VCs and investors, they're looking to see, how you're going to shape your business around these technologies. How can you avoid disruption, or how can you be that disruptor who uses these things? So it's really important to keep these technologies in mind, because they are a big factor when it comes to, securing funding for your product development.
Thank you so much, Tom, for sharing that with us. And then I love the fact that you mentioned that some of the founders that you have, some of the funders, some of the VCs that you have, interacted with, do not fund startups that are not leveraging AI. Because how can you be building, for the times that we're in and for the future, when you're not leveraging these technologies? Thank you so much for that. So before I proceed from you, I would also be asking you this question. Can you share any personal experience of failure in your entrepreneurial journey and how you bounced back?
Yeah. In fact, as a founder, you fail more than you succeed. And the persona you present to other people are just like 10% of the work that you do. 90% of this work is failure. It's gonna be setbacks. And I think, in fact, when I was a kid, I used to play baseball, and the thing about baseball was it taught me how to bounce back from failure. You could be the best player in the game, but you're going to be failing 6 out of 10 times. And when you kind of put yourself in positions to succeed, you're going to naturally fail. And in the world of entrepreneurship, unfortunately, it's all about resilience, and it's all about how you bounce back from this. And honestly, the worst thing I've experienced over the past, few months and even years, is the only thing that you can realistically suffer from is a bruised ego when you fail. And when you have a bruised ego, that's like a very big thing and a very big deterrence for a lot of founders. Is like, oh, if I throw myself in situations where I'm going to be humbled, or I'm going to be, destroyed or defeated, then my ego is going to be the thing that gets destroyed. And in a lot of cases, that's what causes founders to not try or not experiment. But unfortunately, in the world of entrepreneurship, it's always product or profit over your ego. Your ego is the least important thing out of them all. And I think the biggest key is continue to execute and continue to believe in your vision, even though, times may be tough. And I think, just believe in it, and even if you spend 1 minute extra working or thinking or writing down ideas, it could spark something, and you just have to believe that. And you're gonna fail so many times, but just speak positively to yourself. Don't self-deprecate. When you go through failure, just know it's part of the game. And this was something that you signed up for because you love to do it. But if it weren't for all this failure, I would not enjoy the good times or the success that I achieve in the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those insightful words with us. So, Godfrey, I'll be asking you this question that I just asked Tom. How do emerging technologies such as blockchain, AI, IoT impact entrepreneurship, particularly when it comes to product development and funding? So, I would like to hear from your perspective.
Okay, thank you. Before I answer the question, I think Mika's hand was up. She has been waving her hands. Mika, what do you want to say?
Yes, I wanted to add to what Tom has just said, sort of a balance. Um, yes, there's grit. I'm a strong believer in grit and resilience. You really do know that in entrepreneurship, because failure is like a daily food, right? But you have to get back up. And then in failing, there's also a place for going back to retrospect on what has made me feel or what has gotten me here. So yes, you don't want to give up, but you have to retrospect, and you also have to know when to step on the brakes. You have to know when to get feedback, ask for feedback, and be vulnerable about, reaching for help, right? When you encounter difficulties or when you face challenges on your journey as an entrepreneur or as a founder. So, there's this Superman image that sometimes we like to put out there, but then again, we need to also always call ourselves, backtrack to the fact that we are human beings, and that there are times that we really do need to take a break, drink some water, basically, and just keep going. But yes, do not forget to take that break. Do not forget to actually stay in your humanness while you go through this process. I just needed to add that.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mika. From my end, basically, how has emerging tech impact product development and entrepreneurship generally? I would say emerging tech has sort of placed a lot of entrepreneurs under pressure, especially businesses that are still operating, that still, maintaining their standard operations. There are lots of companies, just like Tom said, most investors are looking out for, a component of this emerging tech on your solution. And if you're not doing that, it's as if you are not, you're not existing, or you're not following up with the trend. So it's I would say, from my analysis, right, from my experience, I would say it has put a lot of entrepreneurs under serious pressures, to adopt this technology like blockchain, and most importantly, AI. I'll cite a particular example. For me, basically, within my space, I've been able to identify like four competitors who are doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. So all I'm thinking is, how can I stand out? What can I do differently? And then while I started thinking on that, I got the opportunity to include AI. I had to look at my system processes. I had to look at different processes within my business framework, right? And then pick up a particular segment of it, and then included an AI feature on it, so that I can at least stand out. So what I'm saying is that it puts a lot of, in fact, when it comes to investment, when it comes to funding, you realize that most tech startups that have AI components on their, business workflow or whatever are getting the funding. So it puts other startups under serious pressure to learn or to adopt AI into what they are doing, which happened to me. so so of course I've been able to adopt AI in just one, and I'm looking at other processes within my entire framework where I can include AI. But to be frank, most of, just like I think I engaged Shegun in some discussion, it was like most of these things people are hyping about AI had been there over time. It's just that the buzzword AI wasn't used for them, right? So it puts a lot of pressure, but of course, it's also an opportunity for organizations and entrepreneurs to evolve. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your perspective on that. And before we proceed, I would also ask you this question.
Okay.
From your experience as a founder, I
Mhm.
just want you to share, one personal experience of failure in this journey, and how did you bounce back? It's very important that we know.
Okay. So I remember during COVID, while I volunteered with Center for Disease Control, that's a NCDC. So during that time, I was working as an ad hoc IT staff with them, and one of the challenge they had was keeping track of certain data they collect, especially when they engage people. And then one of the I went back home and then started building a platform called Report Medic. In fact, we started building Report Medic, myself and one of my students. Then his name is Delight. He's not here with us. Yeah, we started building on Report Medic, and then we built the whole platform because we were able to gather some experience, just few experience from different people who engage health facilities, and they kind of share their experiences with us. Some of them lost their loved ones, and then we just decided to build on something. So we built on it, and then I remember sharing it with one of my supervisors, and she was like, they're actually building something like this and all of that. So I just jumped on it, but we spent hours, spent resources on it, but we didn't really take time to validate the market. We didn't take time to validate even the idea itself, whether it's viable and whether people can actually engage it and all of that. But over time, yeah, we had the product, we had an MVP, but it never saw the light of day. So learning from that experience kind of inspired me in my other entrepreneurial journey, you know, to always validate the idea, and not just validate the idea, validate the market. Who are the people that are going to use this thing? Are they going to, is it what they need? And from what I learned today, looking at what Shegun shared, is it going to save people money? Is it going to make people money? And is it going to save people time? So these are litmus tests of every idea, I have or I conceive. These are the various tests I'm going to take it through to ensure that, okay, this idea is worth pursuing. Founding Owuju was a personal experience to me, right? It was a real experience to me, how that I had to depend on the community to pull resources to support myself. And then I saw the same pattern being repeated in different people, different. And then I saw it on a larger scale, within the Canadian market as well, that, okay, this solution has the capacity to do this. In fact, today someone reached out to me and was like, Godfrey, I'm at the verge of losing my admission. The college is on me. And I was like, whoa, yeah, we have success stories in our platform. This person was having these issues, and then she was able to leverage on community strength to solve her issues. This other person was, so I was sharing these successes with him, and then he was like, add me on the platform that I would love to leverage on this platform, leverage on community strength to be able to sort out my own issues. So yeah, validating the idea was key. We've had failures, and we can only say 10% of what we do, just like Tom said. Thank you. Over to you, Alima.
Thank you so much for Thank you so much for sharing that with us. The beauty of entrepreneurship is the fact that every failure is a success in disguise. Failing forward is the norm, and as we keep building as we, with every step that we take, every failure, we learn, and it helps us build better as
Mm-hmm.
we grow as entrepreneurs. So for the next question, I would I'd be asking Olusegun Odufuwa, as a founder, how do you strike a balance between leading product development, managing the financial aspects of the business, and the team that you work with? How do you strike that balance?
That's a good question and an interesting one. I can say for a fact, managing the finance, I would say like I don't focus too much on it just because there's so much things to be done. So like I basically do the barest minimum where I just make sure that like we have good cash flow. And I make sure that like obviously I'm on top of like every cost. There's sort of a budget. There's a budget for marketing. There's a budget that actually goes into like actual the team, in terms of like their pay and all of those things. And obviously any other thing we're going to be involved in or we're involved in, really, there's also a budget for it. That way obviously you have a predictable you have predictability in terms of what your costs would look like. And that way you obviously like know your runway, since you know how much is in the bank. Other than that, really, yeah, the focus for me is on product development and also the team. And I think for me, I haven't really figured out that balance, or more like I'm figuring out that balance. In the beginning, I was more of product development and also like trying to like balance it with the team. But based on some of the feedbacks we're getting now, it looks like the product is getting to a place where what, we are at a solid place, and now we now need to like switch from like getting developing the product for that to like commercializing the product. Because as much as you're building and you're trying to like make sure you have a solid product, at the end of the day, if you run out of money, then like the business is over. And also like there's also the element of like you have to get into the market as quick as possible, because like Godfrey has mentioned, yeah, like if you look deep enough you would see someone else that is actually doing something similar to what you're doing. So like yes, there's basically the first mover advantage. You like go as quick as possible and capture as much of the market as possible. Then like you can always like add more features down the line. um so for us, really, like the way I tend to measure that is I have a goal, I have a target in terms of like KPIs, in terms of like active users, in terms of like in our case active workspaces, and we also have like a target for the MRR, that's the monthly recurring revenue we are hoping to reach by the end of the year. So I always look at that. I track that every week, where I look at it like, okay, based on our current trajectory, are we going to reach that number? Like, are we are we making progress there? Like, are we trying to are we sort of like if you sort of plot your graph, like you sort of look at how you're moving, like on our current trajectory, are we gonna exceed that number by the time this time comes? Or like are we falling behind? That's now the question. So like if we're falling behind, then really like why are we spending so much time trying to like improve a product? The product is good enough, when like we're not spending enough time trying to like um like get into the market and just capture more users. So like there's so many things, and it's hard to like define what the balance would be, um you know in terms of like focusing on finances, focusing on the product, and focusing on the team. But I think I guess the rule of thumb is you kind of have to know what your North Star is. Like, what's the one key metric that is the most important, for that business? And like, you have to optimize for that. And I always believe that you have to like do whatever it takes, to actually like, get to that North Star. If it means that like getting the right thing, definitely, you definitely like, work on improving your team strengths. If it means like improving the product, then definitely that goes into product development, you know. But like you kind of have to do what it like know what that metric is, which is the winner for your business, and optimize for it and like do whatever you need to do to actually get to that. And again, once you get to that, you see the next metrics again, optimize for that. So eventually, as you begin to like go, towards that direction, it will become obvious what part of the team, what part of like the company in general needs, the most attention. And as the CEO, as the creative lead, as the founder of that business, now it's your responsibility to make sure that like everything is in place, for the company to grow and for the team you have to actually succeed. So yeah, that is it.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing those insights with us. So, Mika, I'll be passing the mic over to you now. And for this one, I'd like to, ask your opinion and what you think about this. So, what's your view about entrepreneurs seeking funding from non-traditional sources such as crowdfunding, grants, or impact investors who are passionate about making impact and all of that? Do you think it's an easy way? Do you think it's an easy way out, or what do you think about that?
So if I get your question correctly, seeking investors from non-traditional means, you mean crowdfunding?
Yeah, crowdfunding or seeking grants just to scale.
Well, first things first is how well you are sure of this idea or this business, right? How well you know it. I always keep going back to the person who is seeking this grant, who is seeking the grant, who is seeking this funding from whatever source, basically. So how well can you communicate? How well do you know it? There's actually no one size fits all for many things. And seeking funding is actually one of those things that is not a one size fits all type of scenario situation. So it can happen in any way and through any platform and even through anybody. In fact, many times it's even in the least expected ways that you might get funding. So yes, it is how well are you prepared? I think one of the speakers spoke about maturity at handling situations. So, I mean, if it doesn't work, what do you do? Do you give up on your idea or your dream or your vision, or whatever the case may be? So it's about keep pushing and keep trying, right? It's about finding other ways. If the traditional ways to seek funding do not work for you, I mean, explore. So yes, I think that it is good so long you believe in the idea, so long it is something that you're passionate about and you have like a sociological approach to your solution. But I don't think that there's any one size fits all to seeking funding. You can explore as many means. So and also you have to be careful. Many times we are pressured. We are pressured, and then we can drive ourselves into terms or situations that will end us up in a ditch at the long run. So yes, you have to be careful in seeking this funding. You have to be careful to not get into agreements that will eventually give a downturn to your business or to even your credibility as a person as well. So yes, please, by all means, find carefully. Right. So that's about it.
Thank you so much, Mika. Thank you for that great insight. So I'm going to ask this question, and I'll be asking Godfrey. I'll be asking you this question, and how can founders ensure that sustainability is at the heart of everything that they do? Because it doesn't make sense to invest so much time, have people invest so much time, resources, believing in your dreams, your visions, and pour in so much into what you're doing. And then at the end of the day, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, it's no more. So how can founders ensure sustainability of their ventures, both financially and socially, over the long term, to build for the long term? In just 1 or 2 minutes, can we have your response to that?
All right, thank you so much, Halima, for that. While you were asking the question, the first thing that came to my mind was vision. 2 days ago, I was looking at the vision of Amazon, the vision of Apple, the vision of all these big techs, right? And while I was understanding those vision, I was also understanding what their vision was when they started. Over time it sort of changed, right? It sort of changed. Some of them maintained it, but some of them actually it sort of evolved in a way. They changed one or two words on it. But while studying those visions, right, I did not. One thing I didn't see was product. They were not talking about the product. They were talking about, is this, like Amazon was key on customer satisfaction. And then while I began to think around those visions, I was like, wow, everything, every product, everything. For instance, let me use Meta, formerly Facebook, for instance. Now they are keen on connecting people, and if you look at all the products they've unveiled, if you understudy those products, you realize that they are all about connecting. Facebook connection, Instagram connection, what do you call it? WhatsApp community connection, all of those things. So they are keen on that. So having a strong vision is key. And I'm telling us that starting out, to maintain that, because that's what keeps driving you. That's what drives whatever product, you churn out. You churn out most of your product from your vision, right? So it may not just be, regardless of where you're starting, regardless of what you're starting with, what matters is your vision. What's your vision? What's the vision behind your company? What's your vision? What's the purpose, right, of this company? Why did this company exist? And from there, every product comes out of it. Every product comes out of it. But in practical times, in terms of sustainability, one of the things we need to bear in mind is as we build product, as we launch certain initiatives, it's important that we do that with sustainability in mind, right? For us at Owojo, one of the things we're doing is one of our sustainability strategy or sustainability plan is to build community around what we do, build a community around what we do. So it's not just about Would You Pay, which is our product. It's not just about whatever product that is going to come up after now. It's about community. We're looking at building community where people are able to thrive, people are informed, and people are aware of certain things. We're able to bring a platform just like this where people come together, share knowledge, just like what we're doing. This is part of our sustainability plan as a community. So building a community around what we do is also important, right? And that is it. And that's just a suggestion from me. I build a community. Yours may not be a community, it may be another thing, but it's important that as we build, write the vision, let the vision be clear and big. Don't limit yourself. Be clear and big. I was discussing with Aditona some days ago, and then we're talking about the vision of Starlink, Elon Musk vision, and it's amazing what is happening. See what's happening today. Something has gone before now, something has been written down before now. Right? So it's important that you have a vision, a clear vision on what you want to achieve, what you stand for. And as you write that down, as you engage, as you keep talking to people, and as you keep doing things with sustainability in mind, everything will fall in place. But first, write that vision. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much, Godfrey, for, sharing that with us. Without, further ado, as we close this month's edition of Imagine Tech Talks, I would like for our speakers to, give us their closing statements in just 1 or 2 minutes. And in giving us your closing statements, you can as well, share 1 or 2 opportunities that is there for startups to leverage. Thank you. So I'll be starting with Tom. I'll be passing the mic over to Tom. So just give us your closing statement, and you can as well share 1 or 2 opportunities that startups can leverage in just 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you.
So yeah, I'll just begin, I guess, with one piece of advice I give to everyone is the process of this is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering. But I mean that in a happy way because I know I'm just repeating stuff that, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang has said, but you gotta like let the journey, refine your character, and it has to refine your idea as well. So whenever you go through tough times and just kind of this, and even if you have like rough days like back to back, just know that you didn't have a bad day. You had a character building day. And when you turn your perspective into that kind of mindset, and you do that little shift in your mind, you're gonna enjoy the process a lot better, and you're gonna appreciate things a lot better, and not just focusing on the bad stuff that happens to you. Um, I think you also mentioned if there's an opportunity that startups can leverage, is really just looking at different ways that we can adopt AI in situations that has never been done before. And so for us at Orbit View, we're trying to experiment with that. So we're currently building some AI that I cannot disclose at the moment due to some contracts and stuff. But you gotta be willing to experiment with AI and all these technologies, and perhaps you might open a new market. So you never know. You just have to be bold and willing to experiment. And when you experiment, if it goes well for you, then great. If it doesn't, you learn something new. And sometimes that experience is more valuable than anything else. You can explain why this experiment didn't work out, or why did it work out, or why did it kind of not give you any sort of data that you didn't enjoy or you enjoyed. But all in all, just try different things. You never know where it can take you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you. If it doesn't go well, you'll learn something from it. So just start. Thank you so much. So over to you, Mika. Please share your closing statement with us in just 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you.
Oh yeah, so very quickly, I'll just say whatever stage you're at, be value driven, right? Add value to wherever you are, whoever is around you. Um, that way, as you communicate value, as you add value, uh, you begin to see the returns, and that happens because clarity comes, more ideas comes. And I absolutely love what Tom said. He sounded like a sage. He said that you should let the journey refine your character and refine your idea. So as you're value driven, as you have your head in the game, you soak in all the experience that comes at you. I promise you, it makes you a better person. So yes, be value driven. Talking about opportunities for startups. I mean, being on ETT this month is an opportunity. So I'll just say network, right? Go on and meet many other people that are doing what you're doing or what you want to do. And then just network, basically. That is how you find opportunities to help what you're doing. I mean, Godfrey also shared about how he got a 6-week training before launching Owujuk, right? So those are the type of conversations we're having with other people in the industry. And from there, we are just all going to see you at the top. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mika. Be value driven and network. Very, very important. Yeah. Thank you so much. So I'll be passing the mic now to you, Olusegun. Please give us a closing statement in 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess one takeaway I can give to people is, as pretty much you've said so far, Alimat, just really just start. Entrepreneurship is a journey. It's not something that, like, it's not a destination. It's a journey. And enjoy the process, as Thomas said. I think that's kind of like one thing, I've learned over time to do. Initially, I used to be so focused on the goal. In 6 months, I need to have like 10,000 users. Then it's like by the third month like this, it's simply not working. Like, and I'm like so frustrated, so like pissed, like, I'm so like, what's going on? Like, I'm literally like super miserable, So I think now I've sort of like taking a bit of a chiller approach to it. Not that I'm not still goal driven, I am, but you know, it's like as you're moving on this journey, like learn to like spot the little things, that you're coming across, and like, because those little things might be things that will make the most difference for you, going forward. Don't be so like, this is it, and like this is important. Any other thing is not important. Every other thing is really important. And honestly, just enjoy the process. In the beginning, things might be you might be confused. Like you might not know what you're doing, but I think it was Alima that said it, or Mika that said it. Clarity comes, over time as you begin to go through the journey. So in terms of opportunities that others people can leverage, I yeah, I'm a big believer in communities. Like just join communities where join communities of like-minded people. Join communities where there are entrepreneurs around, that are also building, things, similar to you. Chances are you guys have the same sets of problems, and you can always, hold each other's hand, and you guys grow together. And the other thing is also be on the lookout for opportunities, for women. There's a lot of initiatives out there right now, around, supporting women, if it's from like, women in STEM, like women, founded businesses, funding around that. There's grants around that, and even like grants around like, sustainability and like sustainability of the environment, there's like grants around that. And different opportunities around that. So like just be on the lookout for it, and be on the lookout for it and always apply to them. Because all these little stops, all these little achievements on these little grants you get from me and everything, just ends up, adding up to, you going through that journey, and I guess with the end goal of it being successful. So yeah, that's my closing thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olusegun. The power of community and networking cannot be overemphasized. Thank you so much, because no one can journey alone. So over to our founder, the founder of Owujo, in person of Godfrey Jonas. Uh, Give us your closing statement and take over the meeting from here. Thank you so much
All
for the
right.
opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much, Halima. Thank you, Shegun. Thank you, Mika. Thank you so much, Tom. It's a wonderful time. Like, my notes is filled up, man, with lots of points, and I know I have to go through to review some of them and go through them and apply them. The most important thing out of this that we get out of this event is the fact that we're able to share knowledge, we're able to talk about things from our various perspective, listening to Shegun speak, and recounting how I got to meet him, back over 10 years, yeah, 10 years ago, back in Nigeria. It's so amazing. And Shegun has been instrumental. He has really been part of my journey, even down here. And till this day, I must tell you that Shego was part of the people, that I was able to pull the funds I needed to push for my tuition and all of that. So Shego has really been instrumental in my life. And Tom, how did I meet Tom? Networking. Attica, which was part of our speaker for the last session, introduced Tom to me, and then we started conversing on LinkedIn. And today Tom is here, dispensing knowledge, dispensing from his experience, which is also key to us. So this is the power of networking. And Mika, we've done it for hours together. Mika is such a wonderful lady. Yeah, she comes all the way from. I'm surprised that she didn't talk about her health, background in health and down to construction. Who knows where she's gonna go from here? Maybe to space or something. Yeah, so it's amazing seeing how you have grown, how you have. I'm not saying I'm old. All right, so it's amazing to see how you've evolved in your journey and all of that. And of course, Halima, I can't say I have a lot to say. I can write a book about you, but thank you so much, Halima, for this wonderful session. I really want to appreciate everyone that made it here, all our participants, our attendees, Jerry from Bitcoin Bay. We're really grateful. Mika's founder of Construct, was also here earlier with us, but he stepped down. He stepped out for maybe one or two engagement. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining. For entrepreneurs, developers, our co-op students, here at OJOB, they are here with us as well. It's been an insightful session, and thank you so much, so much. Next month, the ETT webinar is usually is on a monthly basis. Give me a minute. Okay, I think Samuel wants to make a bold statement. All right, so but then I really want to appreciate everybody. So this webinar continues next month. Next month we're going to be having an amazing session. Please permit me to share what we have here. Some of us may know who we'll be inviting next month. Next month is going to be amazing. We're going to be talking about funding. One of the I think the motto of this city, Toronto, here is that for you to discover, right? It's yours to discover. So we've been able to dig within our network, and we've been able to identify some people who know people. There are people who know people, and then we'll be hosting these two wonderful speakers. Remy happens to be the founder of Fractal, and she organizes brunch for Web3 founders, Web3 and AI founders, fintech founders. She brings investors and startup founders together, within a room, to discuss about to network and, of course, gain possible, investment opportunities as well. So we're going to be having Remy on the call by next month on the 23rd of November, and of course Jerry Cabral is one of the co-founders of Bitcoin Bay, and he works directly with Jerry, who was one of our speakers for the last session we had. So Jerry will be here to talk about the various grants and opportunities, basically government grants, Canadian government grants that are available for. Oh, please, I'm sorry. Yeah, the various grants that are available for to pursue, to pursue your career in any space, and also for business growth as well. So there are quite a number of opportunities, and there are stakeholders that have access to some of this information that will be of value to us. So I urge all entrepreneurs within this space of attendees, to be available for this. It's going to happen on 23rd of November, that's next month. And we'll be hosting these people, and we'll be having, real conversations. And most importantly, just like we said, network. Because what happens after here is, we've provided an opportunity for you to, engage in conversations. But what happens after here is your responsibility, right? It's your responsibility. Connect with Shegun, connect with Tom, connect with Halima, connect with Mika, connect with other people on this platform as well. Jerry, drop your LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever handle, just drop it on the chat. People will connect with you. I will personally connect with you and follow you. So please connect with these guys, engage them. There may be opportunities within their startups, that may benefit you, and not just opportunities, but you yourself offer value to them. Tell them, oh, this is what I can do. I can do X, Y, Z. How can this help your company? How can this offer yourself, offer yourself to them as well, and just build that network around this community as well. So once again, I want to say thank you to everyone for making our time to be here. We really appreciate you. We really celebrate you big time. And yeah, that'll be all from and thank you so much, guys. Can we put our hands together? All right. So I would like us to take a picture. Okay, I think Adetona wants to say something. Yeah, please, Adetona. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I when you said put your hands together, I wanted to actually clap. but it's okay. Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's good to be part of this community. Every speaker has actually, said a lot of insightful thoughts to everyone here, and I really find this gathering really interesting. Thank you so much, Godfrey, for organizing this event. Olusegun, as always, is also a good friend of mine, and I'm happy to see how Open Dashboard has evolved over time. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah.
And guys, just to add, this is the Adetona I've been talking about since. So you can link up with him, look for him on Instagram. And the guy is doing amazing in his space. He's doing amazing, And yeah,
Thank
just
you.
connect
Thank
with
you.
him as well. So thank you so much, guys.
All right.
We'd like to take a picture, a virtual picture before we leave. So you can turn on your camera. Let just see your beautiful and handsome face if you don't mind, if that's okay with you. All right, so Halima will give us the shot. All right. Halima, are you gonna take us the picture? Or should we get Aditona to do it? All right, so Halima, give us a shot.
All right, I just have a few cameras turned on. Can you guys,
Okay.
are you ready? Because I'm ready.
Yeah, I am ready.
I don't see your faces. Is it my network or
My face is here. My face better be there.
I can see your face? Yes, I can see Olusegun's face. I can see
All
Tom's face. Yeah, I can see Umar. Who else before I take the shot? Nika? I
I hope you
don't
can see my face.
I cannot see your faces.
Really?
Can you just take the shot from there? Because I'm not seeing.
okay. So everybody say cheese.
Cheese.
Oh, I can't see the cheese. Everybody say cheese again. Cheese. All right. Yeah, pretty good. Thank you so much, guys. Please, just one last thing. I've dropped a link on the chat. Please do help to drop us a feedback. We really want to improve on what we do here, and we are people of excellence. So please do help to drop us a feedback on the link I just dropped on the chat. So if there's anything you want us to improve on, if there's any topic you want us to focus on in our next sessions, so just do help to drop us a feedback. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And connect with everybody. I can see Ruben, I can see Tom, I can see Halima on the chat. I can see Shagun, myself. So please drop your LinkedIn and let's connect from there. Thank you so much. To have a productive evening and a wonderful day. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye.